Good evening, teacher. I'm going to talk about what is linguistic knowledge. So, I would like to start with the question: what does it mean to know a knowledge? Anyone who knows a language must be able to speak and understand in order to communicate with others. This means that one must have the capacity to produce sounds which carry out a certain meaning, and to understand and interpret the linguistic codes in the sounds produced by others. However, knowing a language goes beyond that, for even the simplest conversation requires a profound knowledge of how language rules, functions, and how words are related to one another as they form meanings. And what factors do you need to know in order to know a language? Language as an association of signs that enables communication comprise several factors that constitute the most important parts of the basic knowledge of language. One factor is the structure, particular phonemic system, lexical set, and logic that underlines the way it systematically groups in terms. In addition to foreign structure, spelling, and phonetics, anyone who wants to learn a language must also understand that he or she has extensive knowledge of the cultures in which it is spoken. Thank you so much, and let's continue with my partner. And that's all.
My name is Jose David Morales. I am going to talk to truth conditional semantic. It is the way of explaining a linguistic analogy of someone speaking about a language. From a proposition like I am cold, it is followed with that if you go out into the field, then I am cold. It's always true regardless of whether I am going into the field is true or false. The interpretation seems perfectly reasonable in court come what may. The compositional semantic. It refers to the construction of meaning on phrases or sentences from meaning on the smaller units be means on semantic rules. For example, a grammatical productivity in syntax, infinite number of words y infinite number composition rulers. The true is defined by knowing the meaning of the sentences to determine under what condition it is true or false. For example, if you listen the phrase Julius plays very well and you know the meaning of the sentences, or we feel hot the sentences to be true. And the contrary is know that Julie can't play and if you heard that Julie plays very well. I will judge that the sentence is false and will think that the speaker is lying. Thank you very much.
Tautologies. It indicates those self-evident, redundant, or obvious statements that are affirmed by themselves. That is, it is a redundant statement. This rhetorical figure usually uses unnecessary words that do not add any new information to the idea that is to be conveyed. So, tautological statements are true from any possible interpretation and therefore irrefutable. In other words, tautologies are sentences that are always true regardless of the circumstances. For example, a kilometer has 1,000 meters, which is an exact metric and that could never be false. And something similar happens with others examples. Let's see. The ice is cold. Everybody knows that, and you cannot say the opposite. Vegans do not eat meat. Actually, that's why vegans called vegans. And also, it is so true. And the last one, 1 hour has 60 minutes. It is so true because here or in everywhere is true. 1 hour has 60 minutes, and you cannot say the opposite.
Well, we can say that a contradiction occurs when an argument contains elements that are opposite to each other. That is, one contains an affirmation and another a negation that are totally opposed to each other. Then we find a true term, and therefore the other is false, since a thing can't be true and false at the same time. Let's see some examples to understand it better. The task is easy and very difficult. Either it's easy or difficult. Here we find a contradiction. Another can be to be and not to be, or life is long and short, and I love her and I hate her. All these phrases have prepositions that contradict each other, and the same aspect can never cover two things that are naturally opposed, not even in the same sense.